Hello Monstars, I'm Coach Sarahbell and today we're going to do some yoga to a story. So I'm going to tell you a story about a girl called Wendy and a boy called Peter Pan, and we're going to do some yoga poses as we go along with the story. So our story starts in London, England, in a nursery. Now a nursery is where in the olden days little boys and girls would stay and sleep in one room together until they got older and grew up, and then they'd go and live in a bedroom like an adult. Now Wendy and her little brothers Michael and John slept in this nursery all together with their nanny, which was actually a dog. So the first pose we're going to do today is our dog pose. So we're all going to put our hands on the floor and our toes on the floor and lift our bottoms up in the air as high as you can. Excellent. Does anyone know what sound a dog makes? Dogs go woof, woof, woof. Can you make a puppy dog sound? Woof, 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 woof. Excellent. And if you're feeling really brave, you can pick one foot up in the air and waggle it around like a doggy tail. Excellent, Monstars, well done. Let's try the other leg. Lift it up in the air and waggle it around like a doggy tail. Good job. Well done. Alrighty, let's come back down onto the floor. So, Wendy and Michael and John and their nanny, the dog, all stayed in the nursery together. But one day, Wendy's parents said, "You're getting too old to be here. You need to grow up and learn to be a young lady." And Wendy wasn't so excited about that idea. That night, while they were all sleeping in bed, a shadow came through their window. Can we open up our windows really, really big? Opening up the windows, and in comes a big shadow. Whoosh! And Wendy woke up and she was like, "What's going on? There's just a shadow running around the room." Not long after the shadow came into the room, so did a little boy. He came flying through the window. Whoosh! And after him, a teeny tiny little sparkle. Whoosh! Peter and the shadow ran around the room chasing each other until finally Peter caught the shadow. He said, "Excuse me, I'm sorry for interrupting, but I need to attach my shadow back on." So Wendy said, "Well, hang on a second. I've got a needle and thread. I can help you attach your shadow." So Peter put his feet out in front of him and put the shadow on the end of his feet. And Wendy got her needle and thread and she sewed the shadow up. Can you sew your shadow to your feet? Just like Wendy did. Good job, Monstars. Excellent. Now after the shadow was all sewed back on, Wendy introduced herself. She said, "Hello, I'm Wendy. This is my nursery and these are my little brothers, John and Michael." And the little boy said, "I'm Peter. And this is my fairy Tinkerbell." Can everybody put their hands out like this? And then we're going to turn our hands to face ourselves, crisscross them over like this, and link our thumbs together. It's a bit of a tricky one, but once you've got this, you can flap your hands like a little fairy and make them fly around the room. Good job, Monstars. What a tricky one. Well done. Excellent. So, Peter Pan and Tinkerbell told Wendy and Michael and John all about their hometown, Neverland, where you never ever have to grow up. And Wendy was very excited about this idea because it meant that she wouldn't have to grow up and learn to be a young lady. She could be a child forever. so they said, how do we get there? And Peter said, well, you fly, of course. And they said, how do you fly? He said, well, you stand up. We're all going to stand up together. And you put your arms out. And you lift your feet up off the floor. And then you have to think of the most happy memory that you have. Can you all try and balance on one foot while thinking of the happiest memory that you have? Is it working? Are you flying yet? How about we try the other side? We put our hands out, lift our feet off the floor, and think of the happiest memory you can think of. Oh, Peter forgot one thing. You need pixie dust. So Tinkerbell came along and sprinkled pixie dust all over them. And off they all went, flying across London City, over top of all the buildings and the mountains, out over the ocean, all the way to a little island in the far distance called Neverland. And they landed in a huge big forest with a whole lot of tree houses. Can we all do our tree pose together? We put our hands here, and then we lift one foot up and balance on one foot. And if you're feeling very, very brave, you can lift it up even further, as high as you can, and see if you can balance there. Well done, monsters. Very good job. Shall we try balancing on the other side? Put our foot down and lift the other foot up. Ooh, don't wobble too much. And if you're feeling really steady, let's lift it up even further and try and balance. Good job, monsters. Well done. Excellent. So, Wendy and Michael and John and Peter and Tinkerbell all land in this big forest. And there's no one there. There's nobody there. And then Peter calls out. And out comes all of these little boys. Peter's best friends, the Lost Boys. And they all come out and say, Wendy, it's Wendy, can you tell us a story? Can you tell us stories, Wendy? And they all come and sit down in a big circle together and wait for Wendy to tell them a story. And while they're sitting there, they all pass around plates and plates of food, and they reach and grab some food, and they're all sitting there eating while Wendy tells them stories. And she tells them all of her favourite fairy tales. But they're not the only people in Neverland. The Lost Boys and Wendy and her brothers. There's also some very rowdy, rather scary pirates. The pirates live on a huge big pirate ship. So what we're going to do now is we're going to make a big, big ship. We are going to sit on our bottoms with our feet out in front of us, and then we're going to lie back, but we're going to keep our hands off the floor, and then we have to lift our feet off the floor like a huge big pirate ship. See if you can balance there for a little bit. Good job, monsters. Well done with your pirate ships. So, eventually, Wendy and Michael and John convince the Lost Boys to come home with them, where they can have parents to look after them. And they all decide to fly together. But they get caught by the pirates. And they all get stuck. Tied up. Can you tie yourself up? Stand up really straight. Imagine that you're all tied up. And then they all have to walk the plank together. We're going to come back down onto the floor and do a plank. Now a plank, it's another tricky yoga move where we put our hands on the floor, our feet out behind us, And we've got to try and keep as straight as possible. Don't stick your bottom up in the air. Don't let it come down onto the floor. And balance here like a plank. And the pirates made all the Lost Boys walk the plank. Tied up, and they had to jump into the water. But luckily for them, there was something very magical in that water. Mermaids. The mermaids swam up and saved all of the Lost Boys. We're going to do a mermaid pose now. We're going to put our feet out to the side, balance on one hip, put our elbow on the floor, and lift up our feet. Ooh, like little mermaid fins. Can you show me your mermaid fins, Monstars? Very nice job. We're going to do it on the other side. Are you ready? Lift up your mermaid fins. Good job. Well done. Excellent. Then out came the leader of all the pirates, Peter Pan's arch nemesis, Captain Hook. And he was called that because one time when they were fighting, Peter Pan cut off his hand and he had a hook there in its place. Can everyone do a little hook hand like this? Excellent. They had a massive big sword fight. Are you ready, everyone? We're going to have a big sword fight. Get your swords out. One big arm. We're going to stand with our feet apart. We're going to turn one of our feet this way and point out here with your sword and fight Captain Hook with your sword. Excellent. Oh, and he's gone around to the other side. Are you ready? Turn your foot to the other side. Turn this foot to face forwards and fight Captain Hook with your sword. Excellent. Very nice job. The Lost Boys and Peter Pan and the pirates and Captain Hook had a massive big sword fight. And then up came a huge big crocodile. We're going to do big crocodiles. Are you ready, everyone? We're going to lie down on our tummies and we're going to lift our feet off the floor like a crocodile tail and lift our hands up. Chomp, 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 chomp. This was a very special crocodile because this is the crocodile that ate Captain Hook's hand, and it made a big ticking noise because Captain Hook still had his watch on his hand when the crocodile swallowed it. Can we be ticking crocodiles together? Tick, 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 tick. Tick, 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 tick. Very nice. As Peter Pan and Captain Hook fought each other, they ended up walking along the plank, fighting, fighting, fighting. And eventually, Captain Hook fell into the ocean and got swallowed by the big ticking crocodile all the way. No more Captain Hook. The Lost Boys were free. The pirates all gave up. They said, no, don't take us. Don't let us fall into the ocean too. So, Tinkerbell went around the ship and splashed it all with her beautiful pixie dust to make the ship fly. We're going to do flying pirate ships now, which is slightly different than our other pirate ships. It's a tricky one too. We're going to lie on our tummies and we're going to put our feet up behind us, reach and grab your ankles, and we're going to lift everything off the ground as high as you can. Good job, Monstars. Well done. So the Lost Boys and Wendy and Peter and Michael and John and Tinkerbell flew the flying pirate ship all the way back home, through the window, and all the Lost Boys and Peter and Wendy and John and Michael, they all went to bed. Can we all lie down on our backs? We're going to keep our knees up like this. And that night, they all dreamed about the adventures that they had in Neverland and the life that they were going to have, being looked after by a mum and dad. Can you close your eyes and think about all of the nice adventures that you could have. And then think about your safe place. Think about the place where you feel like you're at home and you're cozy and you have someone to look after you. Because just like the Lost Boys, adventures are fun, but we all need someone to take care of us sometimes. Together we're going to take 5 deep breaths, blow up our balloons, and blow them back out again. Blow up your balloon, and out. Blow it up, and out. Another one. And one more. Excellent. And when you're feeling ready, you can sit up and cross your legs. And that's the end of our beautiful story of Peter Pan and Wendy. Thanks for doing some yoga with me today. I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye, Monstars.